Okay, my name's Dave. You can find me on Facebook, dmbrook6652@gmail.com, and you can get me on Mountain Man Outdoors rec/survival. I'm in Oregon. I was born and raised in Oregon. I've been out in the woods and on the coast and everything for the better part of 50 years. And there's some things I've come across over all those years that are kind of helpful hints and little tips and tricks and stuff. Anyway, first thing I wanted to do was just to begin this thing. We talk about stoves and if you're going to do front country or back country. If you're going to do family outings or if you're going solo with a few friends. This is a Jetboil. There's different types of them. They're pretty cool. There's other stoves out there that are similar, just as good. Depends on your wind, your elevation, so on and so forth. This one has a little cup on it. And the cap here, it's got a little breathing hole, little sippy hole right here. And these little holes right here are like a filter, so if you need to pour your water out, if you're cooking ramen noodles or something, you need to pour your water out, it's really good. And hobo coffee, which is just hot water and coffee grounds, bring it up to heat, and then let it simmer down just a little bit, you know, because how hot do you want your coffee to be when you drink it? And you can actually drink it right out of this, or pour it into a cup, and you're hardly going to have any coffee grounds come out of this thing into your cup of coffee. So that's pretty cool. This is, a lot of stuff fits in here. I'll show you what this is, but this is for skillets. This is my old favorite skillet. I've had this forever. It's an old Boy Scout mess kit. There's a trick to using these on this Jetboil because this Jetboil gets hotter than hot in a minute or two. And especially when it comes to stuff like pancakes, you gotta have to almost have it down to a science. You can't leave it alone, go to the bathroom, and come back. You're gonna be eating a brick. It takes some doing. I can show you that a little bit later another time. Inside here also is the burner, which goes right onto here. You can see this is not your standard fuel canister. The smaller canister will actually fit right inside of here. So when you're walking around out in the woods or at home or a campground and stuff, I've had more than 100 people. They think that I'm just walking around with a cup of coffee. And then they start looking at it, and then I start pulling all of this stuff out, and they're just blown away. I mean, I got my little fanny pack with some noodles in it or something. I got my water filtration unit. And I've got this, so anywhere I go, basically, I can sit down and eat within a couple minutes. I'm good to go. So this sits on here. There's a flux ring down here. Make sure there's even heat all the way around the bottom of this, and all of your Jetboil units will have this. Inside, another little doohickey here, which is just a little stand. And it's for different sized canisters. So if you get it just right, get off of there. It just sits right down in there like that. This doesn't make it absolutely level, but it keeps it from kind of flopping around. And then there's a little on-off valve right here. Now, the one thing about this is, sometime or another, somebody got a little bit of intelligence and they added on a little clip to this. Because when this water gets boiling in here, I said you can use a skillet on it too, but if you're using hot water and you want to turn this thing down, which is not regulated, you just kind of have to go by feel and sound and sight for your heat. You reach up underneath there and that water's starting to boil, you got hot boiling water all over your fingers. So somebody adapted a little clip to it so you can be out here. Turn off. Pretty smart idea. So anyway, I turn it on. Let me get rid of my dew. Just like so. Turn it way up, or I can turn it down. Turn it down for now. This will sit, there's a couple of little, like 3 little nubbins in here. And this has slots in it all the way around, so it sits right down in where the slots are, and then you can let it sit there, or you can actually turn it and lock it. You could pick the whole thing up and walk around with it, but with this burner I wouldn't suggest that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take 1 cup of water. This is a 16-ounce cup. I think I went a little over a cup. Right now it's not going to matter. And I just kind of find where my little nubbin is there. Set this down in. It's just sitting there right now. Now it's locked. Now I can crank it up. And we'll see how long it takes for this. You can put the lid on it or not. See how long it takes. That's warm already. For this to heat up. We got a second timer on this thing. I've only had this thing on for about 15 seconds. This is not a full canister, so with these canisters, kind of like any other fuel canister, and I've had Coleman and MSR, Swiss, lots of different kinds. Whisper Light Internationals. Once fuel gets down to a certain point, it doesn't matter how high you crank it up, it's only going to put out what fuel it has left. It's just going to stay steady. There's already steam coming out of this thing. Like I was saying, I've had this mess kit for a long time, and this is your basic mess kit. But it's not your walk into a department store or something or whatever, get a cast iron skillet. You can, but there's nothing wrong with that. Just a whole different thing. And because of the way it is and what it's made out of, sometimes it leans a little bit, so you have to adjust accordingly while you're cooking. And of course you got your pot. There's another little pot that goes inside of this. I don't have it in right now. A little plastic pot. But for me, with what I do, sometimes I'm at the coast and sometimes I'm camped out at 5,000 feet and sometimes I'm at 8,000 feet. It depends. Take a lot of pictures of deer and elk and bear and cougar and otters and whatnot, whatever I can find. And it's really lightweight. The only problem is it's not going back together. See, that's like my favorite. Real handy, real quick. One person, maybe two. It's steaming, and if you just want to heat something up really quick, it's hot enough right now. I mean, it's definitely hot enough right now. Yep, it's warm. One of my favorite little lanterns is my little light here. It's just a little battery operated, turned on high, lasts about 20 hours, turned on low, lasts about 200 hours. I'm boiling right now. I'm going to shut this puppy off. How long did that take? Now another thing that's going to happen is when you want to go for water, this thing right here is a Sawyer. When you buy them, I don't know, this costs like 20 bucks, and I think it's good for 100,000 gallons or something like that. comes with a 32-ounce bag. Maybe it's 1,000,000 gallons. I think this one's good for 1,000,000 gallons. And it's got a little type of O-ring in here type deal, but inside there's a couple of O-rings. And if you use this, when you're squeezing your water through, really quick, if you blow those O-rings out, there's no repair. You have to buy another one. It's got a little sippy spout here. Anyway, it comes out 32-ounce bag, but if you take a bottle like this without the cap, I'm just waiting for this to cool down. And whatever you have in this, it doesn't matter. And whatever kind of water, it doesn't matter, but I recommend, if it doesn't have any bugs crawling on that still water, I won't drink it. I want to see some kind of action. There it is, and this thing will take out of your water that you get out of the creek or whatever. Most likely in lakes and ponds, your best water is going to be in the middle, because the wind blows, water gets moving, and most everything is pushed towards the shore, so that's where all your filth is going to be. So if you can get out a little bit further, but with this, just water, turn it upside down, squeeze it out slow, you're going to take out at least 99% of anything, and you're going to have good water. And if you're up in the mountains and you have really good mountain stream water, you're all the better. Okay, now the deal about this is, that's still warm, touchable. This is cooler than this is, and it's only going to take just a little bit for this to cool down. So I set this aside. Now I'm not cooking any steaks or anything in that water, but that's like, you know, a little bit of water in it, beef stews, ravioli, stuff like that. That takes, you know, water. Mashed potatoes, lots of different stuff. This thing right here, is it cooled down yet? It's just how fast that thing cools down. This sits right on top of here. And then the skillet or a pan will sit. Like I said, this is going to lean, and that's because this thing has been used so many times. So I have to sit. And sometimes I have to bring that skillet up to here, even on low heat, because this thing will conduct heat like crazy. But if I have it set just right, and say it's leaning my way now, and if I put most of my food to this side, it's going to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, they're kind of flimsy. They're not your cast iron skillet or anything like that. But they're real lightweight, and for just me or one other person, I mean, we can do some cooking in a couple of minutes, and we're good. Like I said, there's little tricks to using these. There's little tricks to this whole thing because it heats up so fast. I've seen people that have used this, they're testing it out. They're going, you got to be kidding me. And they turn it on, and I'm, you know, watching some otter or something, or an osprey or something, and I turn around, they're not there, so they walked all around this tree to do their duty, and they come back, and this thing is boiling, it's volcanoing coffee. And they're freaking out in a happy way, but they just don't understand it just heats up that fast. So then it all comes back apart. Make sure it's off. Try this on your stove in your house just after cooking. That ain't gonna happen. Like I said, then you just, everything goes back in. Except for the larger, see, this is still warm. But this is actually cooler than it is right here. And this thing, little, well, not a comforter, but there's a name for it. Can't remember what it is. It's got a little slot here if you want to put a straw in there, or your utensils or something like that. My utensils for the day are this little fold-up corkscrew and ice spoon. Works every time. Try not to wash this. If you need to clean the inside of that, you know, just a real lightweight detergent and handy wipes. Not disinfectant wipes or anything like that, or baby wipes. which those are always good to take camping because you don't always have a shower. But like handy wets, because they're reusable, just get them wet, wring the water out, clean it out, wring the water out. It's good for, I don't know, 50 times, you know, just one sheet. This is the plunger for my, it goes in on the other end. You take the cap off and it goes in and fill this up with water, and then a couple of times, not real hard, don't blow those O-rings out. And any sediment in there, that'll get pushed out the bottom. And you just do that every once in a while, and said it's good for like 1,000,000 gallons. I recommend them. It's really done me well. Anyway, that's it for that one. Next time.